Manifesting isn't magic, it's movement. If you're tired of vision boards collecting dust, it's time to get real about the steps that actually call your dream life into being. Today, we're breaking down what works, what doesn't, and what you must do to shift from hoping to happening.
Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Hey everyone, and welcome to Hope, Healing, and Transformation. My name is Lisa Williams, and today we are going to dive into how we manifest our life and how we get what we want and exactly how we need it. Now, I'm going to share with you some personal stories with me about how it worked for me, how I got the man who I am now married to, and all the steps that I did. And I will tell you, I tell many people this story. And a lot of people have actually said to me, how did you get what you wanted when you felt like you had nothing else going for you? All right, because trust me, it wasn't easy. So let me share a story. I had left LA. And if you know anything about LA, it's going to either kick you out or it's going to kind of embrace you or it's going to kick you out. Well, LA had literally kicked me out. I was ready to be done. I was over it. It wasn't a place that I wanted to live. And what happened is probably about 6 months before, I had decided I was going to take my dating life seriously. I decided I was about to step in and I really wanted to meet somebody who was going to work with me, not necessarily work as in this way, but work with me, for me, help me, and build me and help me be the right person that I needed to be. So at that point, I realized that that was not the right thing to do. I was like, oh yeah, no, this is not working for me. Because what it started me on was I was looking for somebody to fulfill me. And so I started this whole track and I went, I'm done. So what I actually did was switch my mindset. And I switched my mindset into how can I be the best version I can be for myself? And so my mindset switched in that moment, in that momentarily space of saying, hey, this is what I am going to create for myself. And I had to do it for me. And so I started this quest. And one of those quests was actually, I realized LA was not going to do it for me. And so I left LA. I was in a place and I love the area, but I went to this town that really it is, let's just say it wasn't LA. All right, it really wasn't LA. I went to this quiet, sleepy farm town in Western New York called Bemis Point. And if you've ever been there, it is stunning, it's beautiful. It's on Lake Chautauqua. It is unbelievable. And I moved there because of this catchment area for Charlie. And when I went there, I went, okay, I'm going to get myself back on the dating scene. And those of you who would know my history and have followed me for years will realize that I did not date men for a very long time. And I came out in public and I dated women for quite a substantial amount of time because I had a huge amount of baggage. I had a huge amount of trauma, had a lot of wounding. And in that time I went, I am done. I have to heal. So I healed. All right. And I did a podcast on this recently. I healed, and I mentioned it, that I healed through Brad Paisley. No, I didn't date Brad Paisley, but I healed through Brad Paisley and his music of how much he worshipped his wife. And I also healed through my tour manager, Dave Miller. And he and I traveled the world, and he was constantly saying to me, Lisa, let me show up as a man should and be the man and let me help you. And I'm like, okay. So what happened is I started to heal, and I started to recognize that my trauma and my issues that I had from my first marriage, and it was very, very controlling, I realized I carried into every relationship. So I had to heal it. And so I started to heal it. And that's when I came home from Norway. I was on tour in Norway. And I said to my mom and dad, I said, that's it. I'm going to try this dating men thing. And my mom was like, okay, good luck. My dad was quite happy. And Charlie was like, whatever. So anyway, I started that whole swipe left, swipe right thing. And I'm telling you, I do not envy anybody who is in the dating world right now if you are having to swipe left and swipe right. I was like, oh my gosh. So I started this whole dating malarkey. And I will tell you, the areas that we are living in very much reflect the people that was around very much reflect the area. So it was a very, very unique space for me to be in. I was used to LA. I was used to this high energy. And then I went to Sleepsville. I'm just going to tell you, that's how it was. It was Sleepsville. And so I started to look at what it was that I wanted in my life. And if you are looking for a relationship, this is the podcast you need to be listening to. If you know anybody who is looking for a relationship, this is where I'm going to share the actual details of how I manifested the husband that I have now and what I did. And also, I'm going to share with you the list that I created. I'm going to tell you how I created it as well and what all the steps that I did. So get your pens and paper out, and you can do this not only for dating, you can do it for business, you can do it for anything. And I'm going to share how I actually did it for where I'm at right now in the career that I've had as well. Unbelievable. So, Bemis Point. So there I was living in Bemis Point. I realized I was living in this partly furnished home of somebody else where they had divorced. Yeah, that wasn't good. I also realized that the furniture that was in my bedroom was not mine and that it was where they divorced. So I went, let me get rid of this energy. So first of all, I stepped into getting rid of the energy. Number one. So I didn't have a huge amount of money. I decided I was going to take a trip to IKEA from Bemis Point. So off I trekked down to IKEA, which was almost 3 hours away. And I started to create the room that I wanted. And I thought a lot about this. And I actually sat and I went, how do I want to show up in my bedroom? And I started to look at the most intimate space of my house. So if you're looking at doing this in your office or for your career, you would look at the space such as your office and you would take that very seriously. Every room in my house is curated for what the purpose it's supposed to be. So this is my bedroom. And in the space of my bedroom, what I did is I started to look at it and I started to redesign my bedroom. Went to IKEA, I bought a brand new bed. It didn't break the bank. I bought a brand new mattress. Number one rule is when you break up from someone, change your mattress, please. Change the mattress, okay? Anyway, because you don't want that mattress. You don't want to be sharing sexy, intimate times with other people's energy on it. No, thank you. So first thing I did was get a new mattress, which I had delivered from Walmart. Okay, I'm going to tell you, it was from Walmart and it was fantastic. Okay. It cost me barely $200. Then I went to IKEA and I bought the bed frame. I bought the dresser and I could only really fit one side cabinet in there, one side bed. And so I got a side table. And so as I'm starting to build, as I have this empty room, I slept in the spare room for a little while. I think there was one moment I actually even slept in with Charlie for a couple of nights because I wanted the energy to be correct. So I saged that place. I saged it. I got like sage bundles and I wafted it and I said all of these like little prayers or whatever it was. I rang little bells in the corner and I cleared the energy. Number one rule, clear your energy. Really important, okay? So as I cleared the energy, I then sat in the middle of the bedroom and I said, who do I want to invite into this space? And now at this point, I'd already been dating this dude. Him and I had broken up, okay? Him and I had broken up, Jeff. And at that point, I was devastated. And I was like, I am on a mission. I'm going to meet, the next person I meet is going to be it. So I sat in the middle of my bedroom and I started to think about what it was that I wanted the next person in that bedroom, the next person that was going to share my life with, anything. And I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. So I sat there with a pen and paper. And then I started to scribble down all the things I didn't want. Okay, so number one, scribble down all the things that you do not want. I looked at my past relationships. I looked at all of the things that I did not want. And then I flipped it around, and I flipped it around to the positive, because everything that showed me what I didn't want showed me what I actually need, and what I need and what are my non-negotiables. So I have my non-negotiables, okay? So what is it that you are not going to compromise on? So write down your list of things that you do not want, and then you're going to flip it, and then you're going to scribble that list out, and you're going to burn it. Okay, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to burn it. It's not going to be part of the energy. We're going to get rid of it. Because what we're now going to do, because you almost have to have a kind of an understanding of what you don't want to get to what you do want. And then I started to write the list. And then I wrote the list by pen and paper. Pen and paper, really important, okay? Some of you may want to type it. Some of you may want to put it on your computer, on your phone. That comes later. You are going to write this list out by hand, because what you're doing is you're reaffirming it, especially after you've done all the things that you don't want. You need to reaffirm it. And what I did is I played some twinkle music, okay? I played some Hertz music. So I don't know, it might have been 528 Hertz music, frequency music, whatever it was. Find it on YouTube, plenty of it. So I sat there in the middle and I burnt a candle. I did all of these little rituals. Some of you might be thinking, God, you're batshit crazy, but listen, it worked. Okay, and I am going to read you the list that I created. I am going to read you everything. And this will give you a real understanding. I wrote it actually on my phone. My phone, as I wrote it on my phone, I'm like, okay, and I'm now going to find it here. Here it is. Okay, so I wrote it down on my phone. And I wrote it in my notes, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I could look at it anytime, and I had the right to change it. I could change it at any moment, because this list continually changes. Are you ready? So I sat there. This was even before I put a screw into this IKEA stuff. Didn't do it. Okay, are you ready? First of all, I had to say, I want a man. Now, however we take that, well, it's like, I want a man, or I want the gender of a man. I want a man. He has to have strength. He has to have honor. He needs to be truthful. He needs to be loyal. He needs to be faithful. I want him to be loving. I want him to be affectionate. I need him to be sexual. No, that was a non-negotiable for me. I want him to be good looking. I want to be attracted to him. He has to be personable. He has to have a great personality. He has to have a career. Non-negotiable. I want him to be financially independent. Non-negotiable. He has to have his own home. He has to have his own car. I want him to be fun. Non-negotiable. I want him to like the outdoors. I want him to ski or to be willing to learn. I want him to like motorcycles. Yes, I even went that specific. He has to be a good father. He wants to only love one woman. Non-negotiable. I want him to get along with Charlie. I want him to nurture Charlie. I want him to like my friends and family. I want my friends and family to like him. I want him to treat me like a queen. I want him to care for me. Non-negotiable. I want him to commit to a relationship with me. Non-negotiable. You getting the picture? I want him to be able to love. Non-negotiable. I want him to be funny. I want him to support my gift. I want him to love my dogs. I want him to love his family. I want him to smile. I want him to be open. I want him to share the driving. I want him to be clean and tidy, non-negotiable. I want him to snuggle. And I want him for as long as we are meant to be. I wrote all of those lists down, okay? And I am going to tell you, I was surprised at what happened. So at that point, I started to create my bedroom. And I created it exactly how I wanted. I curated the pictures on the walls. I made sure there was lots of pink in there. I made sure it was all a loving color. And I allowed myself to say those as I was putting everything together. And it was like I had it on repeat. So my room was put together. As I'm putting all my clothes back in and I'm putting everything back together, I look at this dresser and I went, Before I started to fill all the dressers and I went, wait, stop. I took some things out of my dresser. I actually cleared out my clothes, which, as we know, is sometimes can be a hard thing for women. And I made a bottom drawer clean. And in there, I left it clean and empty. And then I went to the side one closet and I cleared that out. That was a task, okay, because it had all my shoes. That was a real big task. I realized I went into the overspill of the spare room. That's fine. So I got rid of all of my shoes and I put some hangers in there. It was only this big, but I put some hangers in there and I created room. And then I realized there was not a bedside table by the side of the room. And I'm like, I sleep on this side. I need a bedside table on that side. Okay. So I went and found one. Meanwhile, I also went to Walmart and I bought, Walmart is like the happening place around Bemis Point. Anyway, Jamestown. So I went to Walmart and I bought jogging bottoms, a t-shirt, boxer shorts, and I bought a toothbrush. I bought a razor, shaving foam. I bought toothpaste for them. I bought socks as well. And I put all of the things, the toothbrush in the bathroom. I put the clothes in the actual drawer and I left it. And every single day I visualized me waking up with the man of my dreams. I visualized who I was waking up with. I didn't know what they looked like. And I visualized waking up to a presence by me on this side of the bed, because I like to sleep on one side, on this side of the bed. And I visualized the fact that sometimes they would be driving me. And I visualized all of these things. And then something happened. I had a friend at that point, and he had been in my life for 9 months. And at that point, I met skiing and we had struck up a friendship. And I met him through the guy that I had just gotten, that we'd just broken up. He dumped me. And him and I had kept communicating. And then he said to me, he's like, why don't you come and see me? And I was like, what? He said, surely you travel all over the place. Why don't you come and see me? And I was like, okay. That note changed my life. That was Chris. And Chris and I's first date, we always joke about it, it was December 17th. And it rolled in to another date that rolled into, like, one date rolled into a second date. Let's just say that. Not going to say anymore. But that was the time that I met him. And I was like, no, this is not the man. He doesn't check off all of my lists. He does not check off all of my list. And he didn't. He didn't check my list at all. And I was like, he's just going to be around. And at that point, there was a moment that this went on for a little while. We communicated. We carried on communicating. And over a period of time, he actually started to show up for me. And the more that he showed up for me, the more attractive he came. And the more attracted he became to me, the more I actually opened up. And the more that I needed to be vulnerable. A lot of people say to me, oh, I want him to be attractive. Well, that's fine. But the qualities, beauty is not really what I look for. I realized that he had to be attractive to me, or attractive to me in very different ways. And so then suddenly I found myself being very attracted to him. He suddenly started to check off all these boxes, and then he suddenly started to show up. So we then got into a relationship. And when I looked back at all of these, I went, oh my gosh. Now, there are some things that he's not exactly great at, okay? And there are some things that he definitely works at. And there are some things that I definitely look at. And there are some things that he was good at the time and he's not so good at now, okay? But most of the time when I wrote this, he checked every single box once I'd gotten into a committed relationship with him. And he didn't even know about this list. And I looked at it on the night before our wedding, and I realized that he checked every single box. It was unbelievable. And at that point, so here's the thing. He used the toothbrush. He used the razor. He used the shaving foam. He did not fit into the jogging bottoms and the t-shirt. He was too big for those. But he fitted into the boxer shorts and obviously the socks. And what's interesting about this is he sleeps on this side of me in bed. And he always did and always has done. And so what I felt like I was doing was manifesting the life that I wanted. So I started to do this with my own life. And he came into my life and now everything is fantastic. He's an amazing guy. And on our wedding vows, he has said, until death do us part. I have said, and as long as we are meant to be, as long as we're meant to be. Because I'm also open about this fluidity that we have to have in life, that we can't just say it is so rigid and this is how it looks. Because there are also points in our relationship that there were non-negotiables. I would set boundaries. And I set myself a boundary, and this is how I dealt with it. And I'm going to share with you. Some people might say, oh, I can't believe you did this, but this is truth. And there were certain things in his life that were going on at the time that I was like, you know what? That's your life, dude. But I have an idea of when I want to get married, the fact that I do want to get married, and when I want it to happen. And I said, I wanted a ring on my finger by the time I was 45. And I was 42 at that time. Okay, so he had whoever it was coming into my life had time. They had time. I wanted a ring on my finger at the age of 45. I wanted to be in a committed, engaged relationship. When we got married, didn't matter. And there were certain steps. And at that point, I created a deadline. He knew that there was a deadline. He just didn't know when there was a deadline, because I was open to changing my deadline when I needed to. So there was a time that I'm like, okay, I need him to we need to be starting to work towards a committed relationship and living together and bringing our lives together. And I put a time frame on it. Now, did he meet that time frame? He absolutely did. Did he know about that time frame? No, he didn't. And I was able to push my time frames where I chose. The only time frame he did not meet was putting a ring on my finger because of me, because I screwed it up. But 3 weeks later, that ring was on my finger. And I said I wanted a ring on my finger before I hit 45. And so my birthday came, June 19th. And I went, okay, is this a relationship I want to be in? And is this a relationship that I'm committed to and I'm willing to change my time frame? And it was. So I changed my time frame. I adjusted it. I actually pushed it out. And I pushed it out for probably another 4 months in my head. And I knew he had the ring. We all knew that this was going to happen. I knew he'd had the ring. And my mom kind of had a little moment in that. My mom didn't want him to propose. Long story. I'm the runaway bride. She liked him. Long story. Anyway, so at that point, I went, I'm going to push my time frame. So I did. And not being so rigid on it, I knew there had to be fluidity and flexibility in it. And then 3 weeks later, he proposed. Actually, he proposed today. Oh my gosh, 8 years ago. There you go. Funny how we're doing this story today. So that is my story. And I still go with these ways of working. I do it with my career. If ever anyone is coming into my house, my first place that I have to get completely sorted is my office. If my office is not working for me and the flow isn't working and it's messy and it's not actually working correctly, my business is not going to work. I will tell you, when I was a child, I used to sign my name because it was my autograph, and I really curated and crafted my whole signature exactly how I wanted it to be. And I will tell you, many of you have got books and photographs signed in that exact signature that I had when I was a child, because I honestly felt like I was going to sign books and I knew there was going to be something that I was going to be signing. So from a child, I have been doing this. So let's work through your ways of creating the life that you want. What you're going to do is create all your non-negotiables. So you're going to write all of the things that you do not want. Then you're going to work from that list. And then you're going to write all your non-negotiables, all of the things that you want. And then you're going to get rid of the list that is negative. Scrap it up, throw it away, burn it away, whatever you need to do. Okay, please, if you're burning it, do it in a safe place. You're then going to sit and you're going to curate this list over the next few days. It is not going to be an hour thing. It's going to be over the next few days, because you'll have things dropping in when you're driving, when you're at the store, when you're doing whatever. You'll have things dropping in. Add to your list. Go back and check on your list regularly. As you're checking in on your list, what is it that you can action? Because you have to have actionable items on there. For me, when I was looking at this, when I was looking for my little thing, I had to be open to having a relationship. So I spoke to a lot of different people. Little did I know, I was speaking to the same person every single day that happened to check that list. So I had to start doing actionable items, such as if I wanted to write a book, I had to practice writing my signature in that book. I had to actually write a line of the book. Okay, let me explain to you. Your book doesn't get written without you writing a sentence. Write it. Not on ChatGPT. Use ChatGPT for ideas, helping you phrase some things. Don't just say, I want to write a book and let ChatGPT do it for you. Okay, so I had to start actioning these things. Then I had to start living it. I had to imagine waking up. So I used affirmations. I used imagination. I did all of this, and I had to start living it. I lived it. I know so many people. I know someone who even said that she was going to get married on a certain date. I think it's Denise Lynn's friend. She had a wedding date planned. She booked it and she didn't even have a relationship. Okay. And things work out. They have a magic of working out. So you have to know what you want. You have to know what you don't want. And then you have to start living it as if it's already happened. So I will be honest with you. Since the biohacking conference, I have been doing the morning miracle. The morning miracle by Hal Elrod, which I'll tell you, I've also talked about a couple of times on my podcast. I wake up now. I don't enjoy my exercise, but I do my exercise. So I wake up every single morning and I do these visualizations, and I set myself a challenge. And it was definitely a personal and a financial goal. And in that challenge, I said, this is what I want to earn. I will share with you, I hit that 5 days into the month. 5 days into the month. And I'm like, oh Wow. And what that has done is it's allowed me the flexibility to actually put into place things that have needed to be done for some time. And so it changes everything. And honestly, you might be sitting there thinking, I can't do it. Well, that actually is your time to say, I can do it. And how do I need to do it? Because when we tell ourselves we can't do it, we won't be able to do it. But when we say to ourselves, I can do it, then you're going to do it. And therefore, I'm going to be honest here, you become the problem. If you say you cannot do it, you are the problem. Because there's always a workaround. There is always a workaround, whatever it is. There is always an accountability partner that can help you. There is an assistance that can help you. There is also people that are willing to guide you on this. There are apps that can help you. There are so many things. It is whether or not you're going to commit to it. And do I like getting up early in the morning? Absolutely not. No, I do not. But do I do it? Yes, I do. And I'm going to tell you, you can too. So are you going to start to it? Are you going to start committing on it? Because that, my friends, is the key. So that is how I manifested my life. I manifested it exactly how I wanted it. I'm putting it out into the universe. I've even said I'm going to sell my house. I've even said that I'm going to get this, and it has happened. So I recently just took a trip to New York in my Mini. I have a Mini. I love my Mini. And I called it the Manifesting Mini because as I'm driving, I'm starting to talk all of these things out and things actually start happening. The more we affirm it, the more we're telling our brain what we want, the more that we're telling our brain what we need, we are going to do it. Now, also, my friends, I'm also going to say one extra thing. Be aware of who you spend your time with. Now, there's a lot of talk about that you're an accumulation of the 5 people that you spend your most time with. Yes, maybe. But if you only spend your most time with one person, then you don't become a reflection of them. But start to spend your time with people who inspire you, because those people have to inspire you and for you to start going to their level. There's a group of people that I'm involved with that I honestly love. They are big high earners. They achieve a certain thing. I'm not at their level, but guess what? I am absolutely at their level. And I will be at their level financially soon, because it's about telling yourself you're going to reach that. And these people are fantastic. And what they do is they elevate you. So you have to elevate yourself. You have to keep yourself elevated to a point that you are allowing yourself to mix and mingle in those circles. So start joining groups, start being part of those groups. Even if you think you can't be or that you're not at their level, just trust me, do it. Because we all have our little idiosyncrasies that say, I can't do it, I'm not worthy, whatever it is. Just put yourself in that place. You want to write a book, start writing the first chapter. If you want to start singing songs, book singing lessons. If you want to learn to drive, book driving lessons. If you want to book the trip, if you want to go on the trip, start buying the clothes for the trip, start looking the trip, just book the trip if you can. That happened to me. I kept saying, I want to go to India. I want to go to India. I want to go to India. And guess what? I'm going to India. And so allow yourself to make it happen, because you are the only person that is in your way, period. So send this podcast to anybody who you think needs to hear this, because reality is that you can start creating the life of your dreams. That changes absolutely everything. And I would love to hear in the comments how you've manifested your life. Tell me, share with me. I think it's fantastic. I am your biggest cheerleader. If you need accountability, let's create accountability. It's going to change your world. And if you are looking to have a little bit of help in the morning, maybe do your meditations, your manifestations, whatever it is, go to lisawilliams.com/free gift. And you'll get some morning meditations, breath work, journal prompts, you name it, it is all there for you. And I will guide you along. All right, my friends, thank you for joining me. It has been fantastic to share my story. And yes, start today. What is it that you want? Because guess what? You deserve it. See you all again soon.
Do you feel a whisper in the back of your mind, like the truth is waiting, but it's hard to find? Well, maybe there's magic in the words she brings. Close your eyes and listen in. Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time. Until then, take care and keep believing in something better.